I am HyphenX, and welcome to the Great Conversation, where we indulge in healthy dialogue about topics that are important in today's society and culture. Gonna dive right into it here. To the left of me, I got a young man that reached out to our podcast page here on Facebook, Great Conversation, Let's Talk. And he was intrigued by conversations that were had. And he reached out and wanted to come onto the show. Welcome to the show, Joe Nelson.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I wanted to come on the show without... I've listened to maybe 8 or 9 of your episodes.
Thank you.
I binged them at work. But I sent that message before I even listened to one. I enjoyed the mission statement so much,
Oh, wow.
Because I've always gravitated towards opposite or... I guess, contrasting perspectives to mine. Because there is something in that. You got a side and another side, and then you meet something in the middle. And I was attracted to the guests you were having when I started listening to it, and then how you brought a certain side of it, and then sought to meet in the middle. And I really made me want to come out here.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's definitely what we try to do. We try to have a platform where people can have a conversation. And you don't necessarily need to agree to have a great conversation, but just to understand each other's viewpoints and come to some type of common ground.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's see if we can find some common ground. Are you a product of a 2-parent or a 1-parent household?
1 parent.
1-parent household. Would that parent be a mother or a father?
It's my mom. I'm a product of adultery.
Let's hear this story.
Yeah, so my mom met my father in a bar, I think. However it goes, I don't know. But, it was, my mom had just had my older sister, Amanda. Her father went off to the military, and my mom really didn't know what to do in the shuffle. She was just trying to find her way working. At this point, she's got 1 kid, and she's trying to figure it out on her own. I think she was maybe 20 years old, going through the motions. Met my father. My father didn't say that he was married, so she just was waiting to go.
Right.
They did their thing. I came out, and just life never worked out to where I could have both of them. But I did have my grandma, and my grandma was very pivotal in raising me. So it made for an interesting childhood, but it all happens for a reason.
Your grandmother, was your grandmother your mother's mother?
My mother's, yeah.
Okay, your mother's mother. I too, single parent household, mostly but raised by my grandparents.
Okay.
So yeah, we do have some similarity there. Where are you from?
Originally Elmwood Park, in Cook County, closer Chicago suburbs. We moved around quite a bit in my youth. When I was 9, we settled in Elmhurst, Illinois, and DuPage. So, real yuppie town.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it on the train.
Yeah, eventually we had to move because of, it's just $2,000 for rent, like a 2-3 bedroom house. It wasn't even that good, $2,000.
Right.
And I wasn't doing too well in school.
What was the cause of that?
Drinking. I started when I was 11. So
you started drinking when you were 11?
Yeah.
What do you drink at 11?
Whiskey.
Okay. Whiskey. What's a whiskey?
I don't even know. My buddy.
Just whiskey.
Yeah. So my first drink was Miller Genuine Draft.
Okay.
It was my uncle's wedding day. It was one of those things where it's I was part of the wedding party. We were in his apartment eating Alpine subs. If you know Alpine, really tasty. And they just offered me a beer.
How old were you?
It's a celebration. I was 11.
You're 11, so at 11 years old, they said.
Yeah, my uncle wasn't. my uncle, Uncle Tommy, I love you, but it's just one of those things. It's a game of chance, Some people, if I was any other kind of person, if I didn't have an addictive personality, if I wasn't seeking to, collapse my mental state, I guess you could say, it wouldn't have been as impactful as it was. But I remember drinking that beer and then sneaking champagne in the limo, and then I don't remember much of the reception.
Oh, wow.
But then we went back to school, and I went up to my friend at the time, and I was like, "Hey, man, I got drunk this weekend." He's like, "You did?" He's like, "How did it feel?" So I told him all about it, and he's like, "My mom's got a liquor cabinet." So his mom goes to work, we start sneaking booze out of the liquor cabinet, and eventually we figured out that we could take. I actually, here's the thing. I don't want to give advice to people who might take it the wrong way.
This is your story.
Yeah,
this is what happened.
The trouble of addiction is you automatically become it. You romanticize it. Mm-hmm. It's like a
bad relationship.
Yeah, it's exactly a bad relationship. There's a soulmate, and then there's a polar opposite. Like, this is gonna be with me forever, and that's when I figured that out years ago. But we would empty out the ice packs that you put in a lunchbox, mm-hmm. clean it out, and then we poured whiskey in it. Mm-hmm. So people would just think it was trying to keep our lunch cold. And we would drink that on the school bus on the way to school. This is like 6th grade.
Wow.
7th grade at this point. And then various phases of booze. Then I stopped the day after my 20th birthday. Mm. But kind of switched to pills, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, what caused you to stop from drinking and then over to pills? So let me ask this question. Let me ask a different question. At what age did you first sneak your first prescription drug?
It wasn't really a sneak. I mean, that's the thing about... So we moved to Wisconsin in 2008. Mm-hmm. It got to the point where I was going to York High School in Elmhurst, and I think it took 47 credits to graduate or something like this. I had less than 10 going into my junior year.
Oh, wow.
I was ditching all the time. I didn't want to do it. I was that drunk, fat kid that you either picked on or you just walked past. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, I was like, I don't know why I'm here. I was kicked out of all my classes but 2. It wasn't making sense to me to be there, which, I greatly... It's like I regret it. I wish I would have focused on it more, but also I know I wouldn't be who I am without these things. So it's a weird...
Right, you can just kind of see the benefit if you made different choices. You know what I'm saying? But you do appreciate the journey that you've been on.
Yeah.
So like when you were ditching class and just what some will perceive as throwing your life away, like what was going on internally and externally? Like, how was your environment? Like, what was going on?
Well, the environment was, the whole thing about drinking was I was bearing trauma from my childhood. I had some bad stuff happen to me when I was a kid. And I learned that, or I heard that alcohol kind of destroys your memory. It makes it difficult to remember stuff. I was like, dope, let's do it. And that's when it came into self-destructive state. So... Well,
it sounds like that's how it came from, almost the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was... At first, I just liked the feeling. Mm-hmm. I was like, it's... the weight's off. You just... Well, not physically. There was a lot of weight on. But, emotionally, the weight just felt off, and it almost felt like I was suspended in air. And it was a cool feeling at the time. And then I realized that I could really bury my demons with it. So I would just drown it. I actually remember in Dare, when Dare showed up, they had those goggles.
Yes, the goggles, yes.
I took them off. I was like, this ain't what it's like. Stop it.
No.
And I still walked a straight line.
So you're that guy.
Yeah. We had to move to Wisconsin because I found out that I wasn't going to graduate. It would take... 6 or 7 years of high school to graduate, so the options were military school or move to Wisconsin. We had an uncle up there. I call my mom's bluff. I'm like, dude, let's do military school. I'm like, I'll work out. That's fine. Right. I gotta shed some weight anyways. Right. Let's do it. She's like, And I came home. The house was packed, and we just drove to Wisconsin. And at that point, I didn't have much. I always have my family. But outside of my family, outside that house, a few acquaintances, some really close, really good people, friends. But the little that I had was now gone. So I spent that first summer in Wisconsin just drinking and watching Man on Fire on repeat with Denzel Washington.
Oh, wow.
And that was my life for the first summer. And then...
And what age range are we at here?
This was maybe 16, 17.
16, 17, okay.
Yeah. And at this point, weed was starting to come into play. I was starting to smoke. I didn't get into pills until I was 18, 19.
And which way did you go on the pills? Like, what kind of pills?
The first one was hydrocodone.
Mm-hmm. Tell us what that is.
Hydrocodone, it was introduced to me as a way to make the booze stronger. And if you're an alcoholic,
okay,
we always want stronger booze, right? I mean, if you're an addict in general, you always want the stronger stuff, and that's where the danger really lies. That's where it ends up grabbing you. But the problem is I want to explain pills, but in my experience, there's very few that I've taken by themselves, standalone.
You take
I've
cocktails.
Mixed. Yeah, I would. The hydro, every time I did, I was always drinking and smoking, or just drinking and doing hydro, and that would just. It's like a pain reliever, you just kind of just lose stuff, muscle relaxer. You just kind of just, that old Truth commercial where they'd be sitting in the couch flat,
laid back.
That's what that does.
Stuck.
Yeah. And then there were times where I would take too much of it, and I'd wake up in somebody's backyard, just my face in a pile of dirt and rocks.
What?
Just if you mix too much, you do too much stuff. You end up. And that would happen pretty often. Oxys, I know you were watching The Pharmacist.
Yeah.
Oxys, I did that. I really liked that. Xanax, the same. At a certain point, I ended up getting to Adderall and Vyvanse, so I went from downers to uppers.
So you're just...
Yeah,
What are you chasing? What are you chasing?
A feeling. I guess I'm a citizen of escapism. If I could lose myself in a moment, like that would be the key. And drugs would be an easier way to do it. Now I'm just a content junkie. I'm always watching television or reading books or listening to audiobooks or comic books and this and that. But, just when you don't see the potential in your life, you just kind of want to leave it. And that's what it became a while, too. It was me. I would go out on a mission to make sure I didn't wake up. And then that's where it got really dangerous, was where I was blacking out every night. There wasn't a night where I didn't know how I got home. And I came up with this delusion in my head that I've experienced suicide in my youth from somebody in the neighborhood. A very close friend of mine, his sister, had hung herself in the shower.
Oh, wow.
And it kind of just took all of us. We didn't expect it. And I knew at that point that if I was ever going to try to exit the game, like, the delusion sets in where it's like, I can't be as blatant as that. But if I drink myself under, then it's not my fault. It's like an accident. People will see it as an accident. People perceive it as an accident, and it's just one of those things. It was like a coward's approach to being...
Or strategic.
Yeah.
Because you want to go out doing something that will numb the feeling of going out. So you wouldn't do something as blatant as hang yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, that makes sense. So that was funny because that was my next question. Like, so have you ever just tried any blatant suicide?
No.
No.
I would daydream often. I remember I had a job where I'd have to walk 1.5 miles to get to work. And I would have to pass a bridge with cars, and I would always just daydream of just falling in the street. But nothing blatant. It was, if I wasn't using, then I was kind of, but I was always using, so it was kind of a weird thing. I always figured it would just happen.
Right.
That's a thing.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Because you're woken up with your face full of dirt and gravel.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a possibility.
Picking out them little jagged rocks.
It's an energy drink, by the way. You gotta say that because I did kind of just take that.
You're like, something about booze. Let's do it up.
So, man, it's just, I got so many things racing through my brain right now because this is a different type of dependency, the actual pills. Because at first this was like a legal thing.
Yeah.
So, did you start off legally prescribed things?
You know, they tried when I was younger. They said I had ADD. I'm pretty sure I do. But my mom said, you're not going to give my kid Ritalin. So she stopped that trend immediately. She was wise, and she's a very wise woman. But she knew that would harm me, especially at a young age. Because when I went to the chiropractor, I started. When you get sober, you realize the consequences of your actions. I mean, when you come out of anything, you realize the consequences of your actions. But I realized that everything I was doing was literally stunting my growth, not height, but like my organs had trouble evolving. My actual bone structure is different than some people just because of how you hinder your growth.
Right.
But you know, she never knew. I hid it from her pretty well. She was working 2-3 jobs.
Well, you barely see each other.
Yeah, so she just, by chance, she never found out until later on. And I try not to confess too much. She's not going to watch this. But she stopped that immediately. She didn't want me to do it. And that was wise, because that would have led to prescription Adderall, which would have led to, you know, when you get a tolerance to that, you can go to Vyvanse, and that's pretty much cocaine that lasts a long time.
Yeah, because that's what they're saying. Like, they're a lot of the opium epidemic is that they're going ahead and stopping them being able to get the pills, and it's pushing them into heroin, into fentanyl.
Yeah.
You know, things of that nature.
Fentanyl is dirty.
Yeah.
I never did fentanyl. By the time that started getting like real big, at least in the area of Wisconsin,
Right.
I was starting to feel like I wanted to get out. And my brother-in-law showed up after he ate a gel. It was a fentanyl gel patch. He just ate and showed up, and he lost 3 days.
Oh, wow.
And we did a lot of stuff those days. I was like, you don't remember anything? You don't remember that girl I was he's like, no, I don't remember nothing.
I remember nothing. Yeah, you just know you had a good time.
Yeah, but then they started mixing that fentanyl and heroin, and people were just, it's taking lives, man. This stuff's...
So you watch Some of the Pharmacists, right?
I watched the whole thing.
Okay, man. So...
And I wasn't surprised by any of it. Let me go...
Yeah, because you're in the world.
Yeah.
In the world of it. I was kind of like, I knew about it because ever since I was a child, like, I've always known mostly young white boys that were on pills and had behavioral problems because I went to school with mostly white boys and girls. So, like, that's what I seen. And then I knew that when I got older, like, some of them were taking, like, their mom's Xanax and, Percocets and their dad's muscle relaxers and things of that nature. So I'm just like, this was all legal. And then to see kind of how it was done in the dependency, and then how the big pharma was just kind of blatantly saying, like, it's not addictive.
Because if they say it is addictive, then they lose their capital. So it's a game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a natural skeptic. I want to say I'm a conspiracist, but I don't trust anybody who, number one, like, we're given numbers. Like, they'll call us by number before they call us by name. And everything, if a dollar bill dictates their actions, then they never cared about the human being. And that is what it is.
Well, yeah.
There's a primary motive, and then there's that, like, okay, well, maybe this will come along with it.
So it's like, So I love when people bring up conspiracies and conspiracies.
I know that one dude came on. He said the Freemason stuff.
Oh yeah.
and then you said Illuminati reached out to you on Instagram or something.
Yeah, man, a couple times.
Is that for real?
Yeah, that's definitely for real.
Fantastic. Did you take it?
No. I just asked him. I said, hey, so like, what do we have to do here? What do we have to do?
I gotta work. Do I work out triangles on me? Can I only eat pizza now?
And then they never get back to me. They do get back to me. They tell me they get on the WhatsApp. You know what I'm saying? They say, do you have the WhatsApp? And then the conversation stops. I'm like, come on, if you're trying to make a deal with me, strike a deal. Tell me who you want.
A limo better pull up.
Tell me who you want, and maybe I might go. You never know. You know what I'm saying?
The offer's got to be pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm American, man.
Yeah.
So I always think about what's in it for me. I guess on the business side. So, like
that's why it's the business side.
That's exactly.
and that's why Big Pharma's been doing it.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. So that brings me. It's so funny. It's all tied together. So I do believe like there's a certain group of people that are like diabolical. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they're diabolical. They want to seek, kill, destroy, and dominate. You know what I'm saying? And by all means.
It's a crazy thing, isn't it?
Yeah, man. It's just some people call these people like the reptilians. You know what I'm saying? Some people call these people the top 1%. You know what I'm saying? But they're just. I don't know if it's so much the people or the ideology, because the ideology can be put into so many different.
I think it's the ideological part of it, because I mean a person by default. I mean, we got our genetic code, and so alcohol runs in my family. Alcoholism runs in my family. I can't dispute that. It's natural for me to be an addict, but whether I am destructive or productive is my choice.
True.
Right. So when I was watching The Pharmacist, I thought it was very interesting. They never called what's the main guy's name? Oh,
the dad?
Yeah.
Okay, Dan. He
was
Dan
it was interesting that they never called Dan an addict. Because
he was addicted. He even admitted to it. He admitted to it.
He's like they're saying it's an obsession. Like I feel like they should have focused on that, because that was the underlining message, and that was there's two ways to handle things.
Yeah.
Like if there's grief, you can soak in your pain, right? Which a lot of us just gravitate towards because you feel lost in that moment.
Yeah, because sometimes pain is you're shook up for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
But if you choose to be productive, you can internalize it, and then that can fuel you, and that's what he did, and that's the bright side of addiction. That's the other side when you come out. So with the intent, with the ideological, I guess, evilness of it, people just seeking to destroy it's
and come
power.
up by any means.
Yeah.
To benefit on the suffering people. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like how you seen like Pharaoh in Egypt, like how they painted, how like everyone was poor, but like the upper class, and they're living off the backs of the lower class and whatnot. Like Hunger Games, the exact same concept. So like that capitalist thing is very contagious and complex.
It's because money is attractive.
Very attractive. I mean, in any form that it comes in, gold or goats. Yeah,
if you can get a lot of things by trading this one thing, even if it's a piece of paper, that's a nice piece of paper.
Yeah, a beautiful piece of paper.
And this is
how much that piece of paper cost me. It
cost me hours at work.
Yeah, trading dollars for hours. Now, what do you are also in a band, or you do music?
I did music.
Okay.
So that was kind of how I escaped.
Okay.
Like when I was saying it could be destructive or productive, I flipped the addiction. And I think that's what's necessary is, I'm always going to be an addict. I'm always going to crave something. It's just embedded in me. And if I don't, and I've had moments where I've just tried to live a normal life without anything. And I'm up all night. I wake up and people used to call me Angry Joe. It was my nickname for the longest time.
Angry Joe.
Angry Joe, man. Because I was a monster. I sought destruction. I didn't care if somebody else was hurt because of what I did.
Why are you so mad?
The anger came from just me not knowing how to deal with how I felt and being reckless with it. And then other people around me just weren't people around me for some reason. It was just...
Wait, say that again?
The people around me weren't people around me anymore. You just...
So you kind of... People fell off from you? Or you
disconnect from society
okay.
at a certain point. If the only thing you see is just, dirt ground, you wake up and nobody's there, then you realize after a while, or you think after a while, this is going to be every day. Nobody's around me. And I just disconnected from humanity in a way that made it easy for me to be angry. And it was any way that somebody treats somebody else, it's solely off of how they projected things internally for them. That's how at least that's how I see it.
I guess when I'm asking, what was the trigger? Like, what was the trigger? Like, what made you want to destroy yourself? Like, what was the trigger? Like,
the childhood trauma.
Yeah, like what's the trigger?
I was sexually abused as a kid for 4 or 5 years. It was around 5 years old, and around 9 until about 9, and it was more than half of the days in the week, every week and without real break. So it just when I grew, and that's when I was trying to. And it's crazy how what intent does, because I really sought to drink away all those memories.
Right.
But I remember all that.
Yeah. And
I forgot all the good stuff. So it's weird the sacrifices we make and the payout because of it. When you come from a single parent home, I don't know if they had programs in your school.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just environments like that where it was because I was drinking, I didn't take to it like I should have.
Right.
I always thought it was like, they're singling us out. Why are we different? Why are we here?
Why do we have to leave?
Yeah. Why is are we special in the wrong kind of way?
Yeah.
And then you see, I was playing soccer. I played in a league for 4 years. I wasn't very good, but I was fat, so they stuck me in the goal.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
and the fat guy to move left and right fast.
And I was numb, so the ball would hit me, and I wouldn't care. I remember my father showed up to a game once, and my mom's ex-husband at the time, he shooed him off of the field. Man, he said you can't come here. My dad wasn't a bad guy. He was just kind of negligent to me being his kid, I guess. But he wasn't a monster.
You were the outside kid.
Yeah. So I think I never called him dad. So
really,
I never called my stepfather dad.
Oh, okay.
So I think he kind of had something against my father for it.
Of course.
So that memory stuck me for a little bit. It was like I can't, even the moment where I could have had my father, I couldn't have my father. And then my grandma passed. In 2006, I moved from my friends. Everything in my mom's divorce kind of just, collapsed on me.
Yeah.
Emotionally and physically.
When your parents were going through a divorce, did you feel like it was your fault?
No. So
See, I've never when my parents went through that. I never felt that either. Like it was.
Well, he also wasn't my dad. He cheated. So that whole thing was kind of crazy too, though, because he cheated on my mom with my mom's a very good friend.
What?
And then, I've done some bad stuff. Yeah. Some not favorable stuff in that regard too. But
this sounds like some good Grey's Anatomy stuff.
Until you get to the part where they're doing the custody thing. My younger sister, she's being moved from house to house, and
birthday don't show.
Yeah, and the lady that my mom's ex-husband left my mom for attacks her in a parking lot with her sister. And
so they jumped her?
They jumped her at a police station. Outside a police station, yeah. In a Chicago suburb, this is happening. It's outside a police station, this lady just comes up and is just smashing my mom's leg with a car door.
What?
So, it took me a while to, I guess clear the haze. I think I was angry because it took me so long to see some light and really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Even when I was getting older, my father caught cancer, and then I was going through, what if he died and I never had a relationship with him?
Around what age were you then?
I was a bit older. I was about 18, okay. I think 17, 18. Mm-hmm. So I was angry because I started with the wrong path, and I never figured out how to appropriately cope with things.
Yeah, you were lost on that path.
Yeah, and there were people who did try to help, and I appreciate them all. I'm kind of still trying to reach out to certain people and say thank you, because when you get onto the other side, but it's anger is easy, is what I found out. Anger is so easy to just be mad at people, but it's hard to understand where somebody's coming from.
Yeah.
Which is the crazy thing about social media nowadays, man. I don't even post anything anymore. People are just mad for no reason. I was mad for a long time. I'm not gonna watch y'all be mad. I hope y'all just be happy. Just be happy.
Yeah. Like anger is something I think is blown out of proportion. People think just because you're angry, you have to act a certain way. Anger is an emotion, you know what I'm saying? And then your actions dictate if that anger is good for you or if it's bad for you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like what you were saying with Dan from the pharmacist. Like when he went ahead and he internalized that, he was angry. He put anger on top of his grief.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He let that anger fuel him to go out and get the job done that he felt like the police weren't doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he went hard in the paint. You know what I'm saying? And he did have an addiction. But you said something that kind of struck me. So are you saying that once an addict, always an addict?
For me, and this is a weird thing. Like nobody's the same. Mm-hmm. And that's the beautiful part of everything. Just that nobody is the same. But for the circles that I've found myself in and like friends and all of it, that you kind of just, you meet in the midst of it and you come out with, I got two friends, my brother-in-law, he had a problem with scripts. They prescribed him gabapentin.
Yeah, and what was that equivalent to on the streets?
I wish I knew. I stay away from that one.
I don't know.
I watch.
That's just like always the next thing they tell you.
and that's the one thing is even though I was doing a bunch of drugs, there were things that I wouldn't take. I never put anything up my nose. I watched my uncle do cocaine growing up, so I didn't want to embark on that path. And when I met my brother-in-law and watched how he was struggling with gabapentin, I was like, I'm not touching that one. And it's supposed to calm his nerves, is what they designated treatment for. It's supposed to ease your nerves, like a muscle relaxer almost. But he really struggled with it, and hit pills are his vice. So I've watched.
Did he have some type of accident? I don't know.
No.
He just the pills.
It's
just the numbness feeling.
He took them when he was. I think it was his father's that his father left a pill bottle out, and he got to it when he was a kid, and kind of like my path where he's just like, hey, this is nice,
right?
And he just went on with it, And my another good friend of mine, his road was meth, so he struggled with that, and now my friend Nolan. I call him Canelo because he looks like Canelo Alvarez. If you guys are boxing fans.
Yeah, I think I know who that is.
Yeah. He looks just like the dude. He came out of it, and he's doing pretty good. And he doesn't really show or display signs of continual addiction, or at least aggressive addiction. So I don't think it's the same in every case. But for some, I think if it is with you long enough, you just condition yourself. You condition your brain chemistry, you condition your organs to it, and it becomes habit. I've been trying to figure out if addiction is really genetics or habit. For me, it feels like a mixture of both, but habit comes into a strong play of it.
Yeah, the habit would have to start forming to trigger that gene, right?
Yeah.
So I think you might be right. It might be a combination of both. But I think that's what's different. In the black community, we're more taught so that addiction is a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just because your mom was an addict and your dad was an addict
doesn't mean
you have to be an addict. You should look at them and you should want to do better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if we go genetic, if my mom is an addict and my dad's an addict and then they have me, I'm either already born an addict, you know what I'm saying, or I'm more prone to it. I did have what grade was that? What grade was that? Was that in 7th or 8th? 8th grade, I think. These guys, I can see them for their faces, but I can't think of their names. They did tarot, like they read my palm.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He squeezed my hand right here. And he was just like, "Oh, you're gonna be you're gonna be sustainable to substance abuse." And I snatched my hand, and I'm just like, "You're just saying that because I'm black and not
putting evil on me and shit." Back the fuck up.
Get out of here. I called him a fag because he was, you know what I'm saying, he was gay, but but you know that's just back in the day when the word was harmless.
No, it's different times.
Yeah, the whole different times, guys. I wouldn't dare do that in 2020.
No, I mean
can't do it.
Said a lot of bad words that I wouldn't say it again. That's the part of growing it. And growing with the times.
Yeah, I was just referring to an old story.
Yeah.
So you got to say that because they made Kevin Hart not host.
I was just thinking the Kevin Hart thing, man. They wanted him to apologize for something he apologized for.
Yeah, already.
I'm like, if one apology didn't work, why would the second one work?
Right, why would I do it again?
There's redundancy.
Like, what's the point? Like, let's see here. Like, I had some questions I wanted to ask you, bro. So, like, do you think that drugs have a direct relation to mental health issues?
I think they are related, but they're not completely connected. Mm-hmm. I mean, you really got to define a mental health issue too, though. I mean, because there's so many different forms of it. Like schizophrenia is way different than bipolar. You know, there's that spectrum in itself, and part of and that's the thing about as we continue through this timeline of society that is getting even more intriguing because there's a new mental illness, like every year. It's like they come out like iPhones. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You find out about new ones all the time.
And some are being taken away. Yeah. They just shuffle them about.
Like, this one evolved, so we'll call it this now.
Like, you know, like in the 80s when the drugs were hitting the black community, they called it it was the crack addicts. You know, now they call it the opium epidemic. And they call it opium disorder. So they're describing it as a person that is addicted to the feeling good minus chronic pain. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm paraphrasing it. Yeah. But something of that sort. Why do you think the focus is different? The focus is different than something crack cocaine than it is on pills or prescription pills.
That's the demographic, man. Mm-hmm. I mean I don't hide. You know what I'm saying? I'm under the belief that the crack era and the AIDS era was manufactured. Like that. We watched, you know, Big Pharma do the same thing with whites after they did it to blacks and homosexuals and this and that and the third in the 80s. You know, it's just it was crack addicts because, I mean, and this is just how I perceive the events, how they transpired. But you know, the African American community was demonized for the longest time, so it's easy just to throw a word as brash as crack addict at them. But when now we're talking about everybody, well, you can't make everybody mad. So you gotta kind of calm the blow and then just treat it like that. You know, there's a narrative, right? And the narrative in every story, there's always someone that's the bad guy, even if they're not the bad guy. But,
or a boss or something like that.
Yeah, to keep the story going. And this farce, as the years go on, it becomes more and more apparent, you know?
Like, I was watching something, and it was talking about how, like, 18 people died within 3 days in Ohio from overdoses on pills. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know these pills were so potent, and so in demand.
They're strong.
And they're talking like, because I believe the perception is this. The perception is just the fact that the pills are affecting more white America. Because I can't remember the statistic, because as far as like 2 years ago, like they start seeing a massive drop in the white demographic, you know what I'm saying, population-wise numbers. They just this massive drop. So now it's like a crisis. So like you said, it does. Perception. Blacks were so demonized, so you can say they're crack addicts because we identify with being an addict as being a choice. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they're making a choice. But now we have it affecting the white community as a whole. And it's more so like, oh, this has to be a disorder. You know?
Yeah.
It's like
how can we justify this?
Yeah. Like...
We don't have to justify that one because that was their decision, but we got to justify how these guys grew up like that.
Yeah, like it's like the exact same thing, but they're both addicts.
Yeah.
Because eventually, the pill addicts, you know, if they're not able to afford anymore, they get pushed into the drug market. You know, the real illegal drug market. Okay.
The black market. Yeah. I can't get these oxys, so let's sling some H.
Yeah, let's get this. You know what I'm saying? And then they start dying from that. So like, I believe America runs on drug money.
More than Duncan.
You know,
sure.
it runs on drug money.
Well, I mean, if they didn't want drugs here, right? And think about it, the embargoes that they've placed throughout history. If they really didn't want an import within this country, they could figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
They're the world power, right? Like yeah. America's dominant, right?
Yeah. Only when it comes to other places.
They got to be able to, right? They got to be able to keep the prisons populated. They got to be able to keep the population down to make sure that resources are, you know, at a decent rate to sustain, or at least sustain the people who can afford, which is, you know, as we're going along this timeline of society, there's more and more people who can't afford resources. You know, because
resources are also becoming scarce as well.
It's crazy to see tents just pitched up underneath bridges, like apartment buildings.
And fires.
Yeah. They shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of just them spinning the narrative, man.
And that's here in America. This is in big cities in America. You know, we're supposed to be like Flint still doesn't have water.
I can't believe it.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
if they think about all the troops that they have in countries we have no business being in, they could easily pull one of those troops out and then have enough money to fix that water. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
All the money it takes to get them over there, to keep their equipment good, to keep them good, feed them, and then all the people who are employed to support them information-wise. Talking about the people in the rooms, you know, that say, hey, you know, bro, I was never a military.
But I've seen a lot of movies and I play a lot of games. Yeah. So
I know what it's like in Call of Duty. There's a lot of supplies, man. You know how many classes I have in Call of Duty? There's a lot of supplies. They gotta fund that. So I mean, the fact that things are neglected is just, it's kind of a tell. You know, if they wanted to care, they care.
So, I believe like America, I think this is my problem. This is what I think a problem with America is, man. America needs to find a different. They have to have a different way of making money. America's so used to making money off its citizens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? From slavery to the prison population to even tax dollars. You know what I'm saying?
I did my taxes today, man. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like it's too much. You know what I'm saying? Like you can only squeeze the fruit so much until you squeeze it dry.
Yeah, it's gonna become a raisin eventually. That's just the order of things.
We're not. What does America export? Do we even know? What does America export to different countries?
War.
Guns.
War.
And guns.
I have
and YouTube videos.
Right. Definitely.
What else?
Drone competition. The drone racing. I'm under the. I got this theory that America's real salty that Britain was able to play Risk so successfully, I guess, in their own perspective.
Yeah, break that down. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, think about the United Kingdom, man. Britain took over how many societies and cultures for forever.
Yeah.
Forever. All the just empires they were able to bring down. Like, and if it wasn't in the East, they went to places like Haiti and in Jamaica. They just, and I think America's like, well, we beat them, but they still hold the title, you know. So
yeah, because we are under that moniker.
Yeah, I think that like America's the LeBron to United Kingdom's Jordan.
Whoa.
Defects.
Huh?
Top U.S. good exports: food, beverages, and feed, crude oil, fuel, and other petroleum products.
Sure, corn.
Civilian aircraft and aircraft engines, auto parts, engines, and car tires, industrial machines, passenger cars, pharmaceuticals, of course.
Yeah, I like the way they just threw that at the end, you know.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
And to kill your pain.
All right, there he is.
All this makes sense.
Yeah, like what's petroleum? What's in petroleum? What do they use that for?
That's oil.
Oil?
It's oil.
It's oil.
Yeah.
When I think petroleum, I think Vaseline. It's the first thing.
That's what I think too.
Yep, right
There's
here.
109 billion in that.
What?
They trying to say it's only 57, 51. Let me find it.
Do we export the oil that we take?
That was just
Like,
that's what I was just thinking. I'm like, why are we?
What is that vicious cycle?
I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean it's on the list.
Maybe just because we own it over there and someone else buys it, it still counts as a United States export.
Pharmaceuticals,
It looks good on the numbers.
Only is 51 billion. They saying that food, beverages, and feed is 133 billion.
I wonder what feed means because
Like probably like to farmers,
grains,
to farm for selling the earth back to the farmer.
because I can't even trust our food anymore, man. After they did that Monsanto thing.
Oh man, I mean, our food's been getting ejectified for a very long time. Like I remember back in the day when you had like a big turkey on the table. Like I remember the size of a turkey and how it looks and how it's not just perfectly round and things like that. Like I remember the time where real birds were killed at Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Have you ever seen a can of whole chicken?
What?
That's what I'm saying.
What?
That's what I'm saying. When I found out this existed, it
What?
fucking blew my mind. You can get a can at a store, just a normal store. You can get a can. You open a bitch up, and it's chicken with the meat and the bones and whatever.
In a gel?
Yeah.
It has to be in a gel.
Yeah, whatever gel that looks like. Yeah, it's not good. It's crazy.
Who eats that?
Poor people.
Somebody.
Poor people. Man, I can make 4 sandwiches out of a can of pink salmon.
Oh my God.
Somebody will eat it. That's just how it works.
Oh yeah, you pink salmon. You make nice fried salmon croquettes with those. Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
That's right.
But as far as like a can, I would be vegetarian from there. I'm like, I'll just eat this apple and fruit snacks. I'm straight.
Vegetarianism don't sound too bad when you watch that video, man.
I can't.
You watch the video eating celery, like never again.
I can't do it. Like,
Did you ever watch Super Size Me?
yeah, I did. But I'm the type I ate Burger King while watching Super Size Me. That didn't faze me. That didn't faze me too much. I'm like, he's crazy. Like, I do know people that eat McDonald's every day though. You know what I'm saying? Every day.
Habitually, they love it. They're addicted. It all comes back to addiction. They're addicted to McDonald's.
But I you know what I did notice though after Super Size Me? That after I did eat a double cheeseburger, I did feel happy. I was very. It was
ecstatic. A happy meal,
yeah,
huh?
Like I was very ecstatic.
You didn't even need the toy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, and then guilt came in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt him on that. I was like, but it wasn't to that extreme where he's laying in the dark talking about how bad he feels after.
Eating it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, like a triple effect.
And he had a limit how long he was walking. Like, he limited his steps.
And every time they said supersize, would you like that supersize? He had to supersize it. That's why they don't do it no more.
Oh man, I miss the supersized fries.
They don't do it.
Cause you can split that.
I was never a fan of McDonald's, man. The fries are too salty. And I went.
Fries America's grown to love.
Yeah, not me.
Damn. So what was your burger joint?
I was a Burger King guy when growing up.
Oh yeah.
But there was I dig diners. You know what I'm saying? Like a nice greasy spoon.
You like that char, bro.
Yeah.
That flat top.
Yeah, see someone just grab some, like a handful of Crisco and just right on the flat top. go sizzle, and then they start like throwing
Put
the eggs
that bun on there, get that crisp. Yeah, man.
Those were my spots.
Cut that mug open, it's still sweating.
Yeah. When I got lucky. I got lucky for a period of time because my uncle started getting. I mean, it sounds weird if I started with lucky, but my uncle started drinking real bad. So he would always bring home White Castle. And I was always fucked up anyway. So it's like 2:30 in the morning. I'm playing Halo 3. My uncle comes home with some White Castle. Yeah. They have a Crave crate now.
Wow.
You can get 100 sliders for $88.
Man. Well.
America.
I'm only in America. I really like, the best thing I like from, what's that place we were just talking about? White Castle is the Catfish Nuggets. They're always fresh to order. I haven't tried them. Oh, yeah, man. Get you a satchel. Got a whole sack.
I can't do Cracker Barrel because they fucked up my catfish. I was very offended, man. My first government knows about job was a Cajun restaurant. So I just fried up catfish. So I love catfish, man. When I went to Cracker Barrel, we have catfish. I'm like, take a plate of that. It was all like falling apart and tough and it was gross. It reminded me of
overcooked.
Reminded me of the canned chicken. I was like, this isn't even food, man. You guys serve these guys food, but you won't give me food?
That's disgusting. Like, I had a bad experience with Cracker Barrel. I probably would never go back to Cracker Barrel. I didn't like the way I was treated. I felt like I was walking into I was walking in the master's house. That's how I felt like when I walked in there. And then when I sat down,
because they got all the shit on the wall.
It's so Southern Bellish.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, oh God, you know, and I just smelt it in the chicken. You know what I'm saying? And then the two little small pieces of chicken I got, and the potatoes were good. I will say that the potatoes were actually fire.
I guarantee you lift up a floorboard, they have racist stuff written underneath. It's in the foundation. It's in the South.
It's it's a part of it, but. I don't think the food was all that good. I think the biscuits were good, or the toast, whatever it was. I didn't remember the bread being good. But that was about
Famous Dave's got better cornbread.
Haven't had them yet.
I worked at Famous Dave's, man.
Or Rick's.
You should apply to Famous Dave's, because your first week of training they send you home with everything on the menu.
What?
Each day they send you 2 meals.
Come on, DC, let's put our
what? Wait, hold on.
That's the best thing about working at Famous Dave's.
Wait. That's a part of the training process?
That's part of the training process. You gotta watch some bullshit video, and then at the end of the night, you pick 2 things to take home for that night until you whittle the menu down.
That's awesome.
And then you just get free cornbread at the end of the night.
I'll be like, let me get a half chicken.
I'm watching. Leave that can away.
Where's that can? Hold the can. Hold the gel. Hold the gel.
I'm curious real quick.
Yeah.
The Cracker Barrel got me curious. What's your opinion on the Confederate flag?
I believe that Confederate flag is the flag of a enemy of the United States. They lost and it has to be taken down.
Word.
That's just the rules of war.
that is the rule of war. See, I think you won just off of that merit. It was confusing because I lived in Wisconsin for almost 10 years. About 10 years, 11 years. As a northern state, I don't think there weren't a lot of slave owners in Wisconsin, were they, historically?
No, not historically, no.
But there's people driving around their pickup trucks with the Confederate flag. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, not only are you
being
not only being stupid, you're being dumb. It's a southern thing. So even if you try to say it's a part of American history, number one, it's not a good part. Number two, it's not your state. So it always confused me every time. And they're all over the trucks.
I would say that yes, it's a part of American history. No, it's not the best part of American history. But even them flying it in the North, I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that it's the ideology. You know what I'm saying? It can be adapted and these people can move and they can influence other people. I think it's natural. Well, here, let me ask this question. Should one be proud of who they are?
I think... Now, I spent a lot of time not proud of who I was, right? And in regards to that, I know looking back, I'm not proud of who I was. I feel like pride is something that you got to earn even for yourself, or at least I've had to earn even for myself. Like I said earlier, I used to be Angry Joe. I used to literally be a piece of shit to people. I was so bad, and I couldn't be proud of that, even conscious. If I if I was masking it with cockiness or false confidence, at the end of the day, I wasn't proud. I was at home drinking, wishing that I wasn't here anymore. And nobody who's proud wants to die. But because I got better, because I saw the other side of the moon, I grew to be proud of myself. I earned it for myself. I obtained it, and it's such a good feeling. But I mean, I'm sure Dahmer was proud of himself for whatever reason. I'm sure Manson, both Marilyn and Charlie.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, which one, bro?
So I mean, I think my pride is part of that ideal section. It depends on who's saying it, and I mean, the truth is there, whether you're lying or not. Right. The truth is always there. No matter what the narrative is, no matter what thoughts or the perception, no matter what, the truth is there. And the people who really know the truth, I think those are the most proud ones.
Yeah, I agree with that. And some people believe in, their truth. There's the difference between your truth and the truth. Yeah. I think we can agree to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know, maybe white America doesn't struggle with that as much as having pride in oneself and pride in one's race. You know what I'm saying? I know that in the woke movement on the black side, right? On the woke movement is to have appreciation of self. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you start having pride in yourself. A lot of men, they take a lot of Nation of Islam approach to being the first Asiatic black man on the planet, and how all life comes from the black man and the black woman, things of this nature. And I mean,
isn't that scientists? All the continents were together, and around where Africa was until it disbanded, and so, I mean that's just what it is.
Right. That's like you said, like Pangea, that's exactly what it is. And when that happens, people look at that as like, oh, you're trying to be superior or things of that nature. So about when it deals with race, do you think it's room in the world for people to have race pride?
My immediate reaction is no. I'm not proud that I'm white, because that's irrelevant to me. I understand my privilege. I've been very mouthy to police officers and I'm still alive. I understand that. But when I think about myself, I don't think of myself as a white dude. I think I'm half Italian, half German.
We'll just say you're just white and white.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Some Italians they got the olive skin. But I mentioned, I said African American earlier. It's because I know Jamaicans.
Yeah.
I know Dominicans that are darker in complexion. The black, if I call all you guys black, then that's disregarding your individual cultures. An African culture is very different than a Jamaican culture. But also, an African culture is very different than an African American culture. Just like German is different than Italian, if you disregard what happened with Nazis, and then English.
They had an idea and they tried to go with it. They almost won. They were trying to run with it. I mean, not that it was a good one, but they did show solidarity and unity under one blanket, and it almost happened.
For the Nazis?
Yeah, it's scary, right? It almost happened.
It was so close. If the Japs didn't bomb America, and then America would be like, well, now we have to do something.
Yeah.
And then
it would have been America's fault either way, because we refused to get involved. But when it got personal,
it's because they were making money off of it.
Yeah.
It affected the bottom line. It affected the capital. It's like big pharma, just old school.
I kind of feel sorry for white people sometimes, because you guys can't have like you just said, like, I'm not proud to be white. That hurts me. You know what I'm saying? Because I hear Hispanics, Mexicans, they're proud Mexican Americans.
Well, I mean,
you got proud Black Americans. But when you hear a proud white American, like, maybe the negative side switches on, and all you see is that redneck and that pickup truck and that Confederate flag.
I don't know. I think it's just, number one, I'm a person of independence, right? I don't affiliate with religions. Although I am spiritual, I have my faith and belief in God, but I don't. I'm not a Christian. I was born Lutheran, but I stepped away from that because, you know, I started looking at, I mean, you guys are just arguing for what? You can't say that your God's wrong because your God's called something else. You know, I don't affiliate with political parties because I think, you know, they're both just shouting for no reason. I say jokes about Republicans and Democrats equally, right? I don't give a fuck about Donald Trump, but I also don't believe that the president does anything to really influence. The only thing the president really influences is the mind state of American society at that particular time, which is why I was against Trump. I was against Trump running because I saw how people were just being assholes in his name, right? Politics are like professional wrestling to me.
Oh man.
You know, they just, whoever's wearing the belt is president, but they're gonna pick someone else to be the champ in 4 years.
Oh yeah, of course.
So when I say that, I don't look at myself as like I have to write white or Caucasian on applicants because, you know, they're curious for whatever reason. But that I have a personality of Italian. I have the complexion of a German. You know, and then how things happened in my life, that dictated who I became.
How many categories of white are there? It's like, like I hate to say it like
depends.
that.
I mean, there's
when I was coming up, there was
too.
always like Italians, and then the Jews, and then
there's Eastern Europeans. You know, Ukraine, Romania,
Russians.
But then there's even, you know, South Africa has a Caucasian population, and
but those people, those South Africans, identify with being Dutch or Portuguese. They know that heritage line.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So they don't affiliate with being white.
Well, they'll still say it's like there's white Spanish. It's like they're white
white
Spanish
with some seasoning. You know, there's some. They got some paprika on it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
The cayenne.
Like this was bland. Shake. Oh, better. That's exactly it. Like, how can we flavor up these white people?
Oh man, that was hilarious. Oh man.
No, I mean, it's. Anytime that we start dividing, I feel like it's just. Like it just. But I don't see the purpose.
But I think we look at division as craziness. You know what I'm saying? When we look at division, we automatically think unfair. You know, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can have division and things still be fair. That's what the real civil rights movement was really all about. It wasn't about letting us integrate into the school system. The only reason we integrated into the school system because we weren't giving the same money that was given to the white schools. If black schools were given the exact same money, there would have been no problem. We wouldn't want to integrate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you look at the division, it's not bad, because I do see that a lot. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I call these my cool white friends. You know what I'm saying? Okay. My cool white friends. You know what I'm saying? They're down for the struggle. They understand.
One with seasonings on.
Yeah. You know, a little paprika. Yeah. You know, a little pepper. Yeah. A little crackle. You know, these are the cool white friends that, you know, they understand the struggle. They're down with the struggle. They don't really see. They say they don't see color, but they also say that, you know, but a lot of their dearest friends are of those of brown skin. You know what I'm saying? Of dark skin. You know what I'm saying? But they don't identify with being white. I think that it is perfectly healthy for a white American to feel proud of their heritage and their bloodline and have some type of white pride. You know what I'm saying? Just like blacks have black pride, Mexicans have Mexican pride. You know, I think America has been white Americans have been crippled.
But some Mexicans beef with Puerto Ricans, and they got similar complexions. Yeah. I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I really feel that. I guess, and this is. I mean, I was never. I mean, there were a couple times where I was attacked for being a white dude, right?
Wow. By whom?
Just black kids I went to school with, Mexican kids.
Okay.
Even though like Elmer's is yuppies, or, you know, I went to particular schools where it was kind of a mixed bag. You know, there was everything, and I was getting punked by everybody. I was getting bullied by everybody. So you can't hate one group when all the groups don't like you.
Right.
You know, it doesn't make sense. But I was slowly finding comrades and acquaintances over time, and naturally, I guess from the course of life, it just happened to be people of different ethnicities, religions, and backgrounds. I was real tight with a Korean cat for the longest time, right? I didn't see him as a Korean dude. I saw him as somebody who would play baseball with me. Mm-hmm. So I think growing up like that, it's hard for me to be just like, I'm a white dude. I know I'm a white dude most of the time. Like, I was a white rapper for the longest time. I did rap music.
What?
Yeah. And I make fun of white dudes.
Now that I think about it, when I was looking at your pictures, there's a picture with you with a backwards cap on.
Atlanta for Outkast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I own that hat. I'm a Cubs fan, but I own a Sox hat because NWA would sport it.
Yeah.
I just appreciate the times, man.
Yeah. He's an all-inclusive white guy, man.
I tell you, when I saw
about diversity.
First time I heard ATLians,
Uh-huh.
blew my fucking mind.
That was you was in it?
Oh my goodness. I mean, there was see, we can't talk about hip hop. We'd be here for too long.
Oh man, look at you. Yeah, we just had a show with Vic the Monster. He's a real hip hop, like culture wise,
like boom bap type deal,
like into like the arts of it,
okay,
and whatnot. And I think he said he scratches some type of disco now.
Okay, word.
He does disco, so he's like, because he's big into the breakdancing and whatnot.
Well, disco was like when, 80s and stuff. And I guess it had a lot to do with cocaine, but house music was just disco that people took a hip hop approach to.
Oh yeah, you guys got a link, man, because he just said the exact same thing. Yeah, they got to link up.
My uncle, he was killed in '88. He was shot in an alley in Cicero, but he was kind of feels like a movie sometimes. And that whole thing this is why I have a hard time. I segue a lot. This is why I have a hard time trusting higher positions. He was shot 11 times on the left side, handgun. The dude followed him in the alleyway, right? The dude went away for maybe 6-7 years.
Oh, that's it?
That's it. He ended up getting AIDS and
so they
became
sympathy.
No. I think he found out afterwards, but he passed from that. I guess that was karma working out. But like that's 11 gunshots is excessive, isn't it?
Yeah, that's blatant.
That's overkill.
Yeah, don't you think that would be? There was that kid in Florida that
20 years
that put his friend in a pile driver.
Oh yeah, I remember that years ago. Yeah. What did they give him?
They put life. 15.
That's what I thought you was gonna say.
But this guy shoots my uncle 11 times.
6 years.
6-7 years.
Caught a little AIDS in the process.
But he would. I have a couple of vinyl records that he would scratch when he would go perform. And it's crazy, man. The house music, it's fun. I find appreciation in all music. I'm wearing a Mumford & Son hoodie.
Wait, who you wearing?
Mumford & Sons. This is modern folk music.
Oh,
These motherfuckers play with banjos and shit.
Oh, that's dope. Is that like bluegrass almost? Or like the non-religious side of bluegrass?
They're English, so they started out like not even with a drummer. Like Marcus is a drummer, the lead singer Marcus Mumford, and he would he'd play his guitar like a fucking monster because percussionists just make for fun guitar players, and he would just hit the kick, and then have a fiddle player, keyboards, a steel guitar,
something for a beat.
Yeah. You know that song, I Will Wait? I will wait for you.
Yeah. I don't think
I've heard that's them.
I'll have to hear it.
So
sounds catchy.
I went to the show, and a promo for Run the Jewels came on.
Oh, I know Run the Jewels.
I was the only motherfucker freaking out. Run the Jewels is dope.
Yeah, that's a Killer Mike group, right?
Yeah, Killer Mike and LP.
Yeah, I can't think of the other dude. I never think about his name, but he's a cool dude.
See, that's my internal white pride. That's my subconscious white pride. Where I'm like, yo, that LP dude is dope.
That's what I'm proud of, man. He's representing the race well. Like, you guys can't even say that to each other without everyone like looking at each other. Hey, man, you represent the race well. What's up, my white?
So, some people do hip hop, but some white cats do hip hop wrong. So when you find a good white rapper, man, that shit is rare.
Yeah, I was just saying that about the last Eminem album. I was just like, man, he does just sound like another white guy on the record now. Because before he, like, not taking anything away from Eminem. I believe Eminem has some nice lyrics. He raps about his hip hop, about his life and his truth, and it worked out for him.
Yeah.
But since he paved the way, there's been other white rappers, and they sound a little bit better on a track than he does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like Logic, and even though these guys are like
Logic
racial,
is dangerous.
You know what I'm saying? But like,
it's weird that he was so quick to denounce the perception of him being white, though. Well, I remember watching early interviews, like, people think I'm white, which is great if it gives me listens. But my father was black, or however it went.
Yeah,
I was like, you spending a lot of interview talking about this, man. Tell me about your music. I want to know about your style.
He just didn't want to be perceived as a white rapper, because if he was perceived as a, like, even I right now just put him in the conversation of being a white rapper, and he's like you said, I know he denounced it, but you put him in there because that's what he looks like. He looks like a white rapper, you know. What
and he kind of has a tonality of a white rapper.
Yeah, he does
too.
sound like a white boy on the track. You know what I'm saying? Which is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? You can ride the track as much as you want.
Do you know Brother Ali?
I've heard of Brother Ali. Yes.
Brother Ali is a monster. He's an albino. He was born in Madison, Wisconsin, and moved to Minneapolis. I saw this guy. I went to go see Immortal Technique, if you know who that is.
I definitely know who Immortal Technique is.
I love that motherfucker. I went.
You'd be a woke white guy. You're like the woke white dude. You're saying things. You're just like you're anti-authority. So your bloodline could very well come from the very white people that came to America, bro. Because they didn't want to be underneath that monarchy. They came over here to get freedom.
They were like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Take your king the fuck out.
Yeah. And then when they got here, they say, why are we still paying fucking taxes? And they're not even over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, I was doing taxes today, man. I was angry as fuck. I was like, man, I have to work to survive, but now I gotta pay you so I can work? What the fuck does this mean? It's a weird fucking thing. It's a whole weird system. I was like, I pay taxes on everything, right?
Right, everything I buy.
You pay taxes on your check. Take out taxes, right?
Yeah.
You go to the store, you gotta pay taxes on the food that you just bought. Not to mention, if you give somebody a substantial amount of money, you have to pay taxes on that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
they ask you, like, any gifts that you gave anybody, anything you bought out of state that we might not know about. By the way, Wisconsin doesn't have a food tax. That's one thing that...
Who doesn't?
Wisconsin doesn't have a food tax.
Food on any food or fast food or food in the grocery store?
Food at a market.
Okay.
Or like if you go to Mickey D's, it's not gonna. I mean, they don't even have $1 in Wisconsin Dells for Mickey D's. But
what?
But
I remember when they first got rid of that 99-cent man. Crush me. Always find out in the drive-thru.
That's usually how it goes.
Devastating.
Those damn fast food places.
I don't care about those little folks.
No, like they'll eat it regardless. Just put it out.
It's $1.99 now.
I'll take the woke thing as a compliment. Absolutely, I appreciate that.
You say what?
I'll take the woke thing as a compliment.
Oh yeah.
It's weird because I'm so disbanded from social media. I'm still trying to figure out some of these words. Like,
oh yeah.
Like woke just means, like, to me, like, I just figured. So I'm paying attention.
Yeah, like you got the woke people, and then you have like the woke people. You know what I'm saying? Like you have the woke people believe that the whole Kobe Bryant thing was a setup by big pharmaceutical companies.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Conspiracies. Why do the pharmaceutical companies want Kobe dead?
Well, they say because he was. I'm very loosely doing it because I didn't want to entertain it.
Because he went to a German surgeon, right?
He went to.
They're like, how dare you?
His name is the Black. His name is the Black Mamba, and apparently they're going to come out with some type of drug, and it was called the Black Mamba. So he was suing them for the name.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But I'm just like, they could have just changed the name, kept the drug. So I'm like, they didn't really have to kill him. you know what I'm saying?
Like that name is too good.
My name is too good. We need that name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not to make light.
That's what I'm independent, I'm skeptic, but it's hard to cross over conspiracies. But also, I think some things are just labeled conspiracies for the sake of that word.
Wait a minute.
Like aliens.
We got to see if you're woke, bro.
Okay, go ahead. Give me the test. Tablecloth.
Do you think the earth is flat?
Fuck no.
Okay.
Doesn't make sense.
All right. He's not woke.
No, I don't understand that, because if I go all the way west,
right,
I'm gonna come back to where I started. I'm not just gonna find my way to Mars. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Or you're just gonna hit the dome part, bro. You're just gonna, boom.
Oh, there's
That's
a dome.
it. Yeah, you know they say it's flat with a dome around it.
I'm gonna get a plane, a jet, and just fly around and make sure.
All those things have been done.
Then we know it's not flat.
all these things have been done, man.
No, I think those are just people that they're bored. Like, what can we?
They really believe it.
I mean, when you
like, they really believe.
If you don't have a real cause, you gotta make one up.
They really believe it, man. It's like tens of thousands of them. That's the scary part. They have conferences
Of course,
where they pay and they see speakers at a big auditorium, and
I guarantee half of them are Scientologists.
Scientology, the religion that just couldn't sneak all the way in there. Maybe 150 years from now.
They made the price too high, is what it was.
Oh,
they gotta
man.
they gotta have a Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
And then they'll get more Scientologist followers.
They gotta bring it all the way down. They gotta bring it all the way down. But
they made it too hard. You gotta be Tom Cruise to get in.
Well,
too
you
difficult.
know, a lot of I seen that documentary on Netflix about Scientology, and
With that girl from King of Queens.
yeah, yep, she was in there. Voight from Chicago PD was in there, and they're talking about like how they got out and everything. But I guess it was made up by a guy who did fiction books, right? Science fiction. He did science fiction, and then he made a religion where they were getting rid of different vibrations, I guess, and energy patterns with some type of machine. I don't know. It's crazy.
A machine that he made?
Yeah, some machine he made. I don't know. But there was no real like God, or you know what I'm saying. It was more so like understanding of science. Well, their understanding of science and how science affects the body. You know, and
I could be wrong, but is there some aspect of it where it was like aliens were to come by and then only saved Scientologists and take them somewhere else? Is that part of it?
Is that a part of it, or is that more so the or is it the Jehovah's Witnesses that believe that, or the Mormons? Somebody does believe.
So many of
them. Somebody does believe that some aliens come in, and it's only a select few. I think it's 100,000. I don't know.
I'm not making the cut.
Yeah, he said I'm not making.
I might as well start drinking again. Not even the aliens like me now.
Well, you know, I think that's what religion does do for people. It does give them a purpose to, you know, do the things that they do, or to keep them from doing things that they won't do, in fear of not getting in or going somewhere after they leave that no one has any idea about.
Absolutely. No, I can't personally. I can't affiliate myself with a religion, but. Like my fiance, she's very Christian. Her family is very Christian. My mother, she's very Christian. And I cannot tell them they're wrong. Number one, it's not my place. It's just not. And I don't think it's anybody else's place to tell me I'm wrong. Because if a Scientologist comes up to me and says, "Hey, I'm a Scientologist. Do you think I'm wrong?" No.
No, but their job is to convert you, bro.
Yeah, I think it's funny, but no, but I'm not a free agent. Not free. You can't. Your cap isn't that high. You can't afford me. But no, I understand I've read the Bible. I understand it's helpful for people who need it, and that's why I can't motherfuck it. You know what I'm saying? I cannot say somebody's wrong for having something that can help them be a better person. I mean, my whole thing about alcoholism and then struggling with addiction and then coming out of it, and then even after I became sober, I was still an asshole. I thought maybe if I stopped drinking, stopped doing pills, I would just naturally be nice. Maybe the nice is just hiding in me,
right?
And I've been drowning it. That's not true at all. I just had to wake the fuck up, be woke, and not be a dick anymore, and want to be good. And then after a while, I am so empathetic at this point. Empathy is, I don't cry. Just it's weird. It's a weird thing, but my eyes get teary sometimes, you know, because the emotion gets me. When Kobe passed, I was like, man, it's too bad. I think he's too young, and he was just fresh retired. It seemed like he had a lot of stuff, like that was a very that life was supposed to be way more fruitful,
right?
You know, but when I found out his daughter was with him, and then a whole nother family, and then other people, my heart broke.
Yeah,
because that thing was crazy to me.
Yeah,
but anything that can help somebody be a better person, I can't say that's a bad thing.
Right.
Right? So I don't denounce people who are religious or Christian or anything like this. I'm happy that they found something to make them a better person, because I found something that makes me a better person. And anytime that happens, it's a blessing.
But that's a main part of Christianity. Persecution is a main part of Christianity. Persecution and going ahead and converting. You know what I'm saying? Because their whole thing is to go in and save souls.
Yeah, the mission trip.
Yeah, so like your soul is lost. I need to get in here and say, you're wrong, buddy. You can't be serving that Canaanite God.
Yeah.
You got to serve this God of Israel right here, or we're gonna come through and chop your head off, bro.
It's,
you know what I'm saying?
you got an ID, but you got the wrong ID.
Exactly.
No, in that part, I've had multiple, and when I was younger, I made the mistake of singling out Christians. But at that time, most of the people who were confronting me, telling me I was going to go to hell because I didn't believe in Jesus, that made me do it. I was like, that's just such a rude thing to do. It's nothing but rude. I'm like, you can't. I'm like, you don't know me. You don't know my trials. You don't know.
Well, they know you don't believe in Jesus, the only one
and
that
was
can
the
save
only
you.
thing. And that,
Piss off, bro.
And that's the ideological part of it.
Yeah.
That's where when you focus on one thing, and this means everything, and then everything else just kind of falls away. And that, in the same regard, that was kind of me with addiction. I focused so much, and then everything went away.
Some people are addicted to Jesus. It's a real addiction. Jesus.
Some people go to church 3 days a week.
Yeah, and neglect their families in the process.
Pastors getting all that money.
Yeah,
the money plate.
Well, technically you're supposed to take care of the pastors. That's in Leviticus. You know what I'm saying? But they don't have to live this lavish lifestyle. But they, you should supply home and food for them.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. If they're, doing what they're supposed to do by spreading the banner of Christ throughout the region.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For the purpose of the religion. So I can rant about religion all day, because I just believe that religion is just something that's been, it can be a powerful tool, and that, like a sledgehammer, right?
Yeah.
A sledgehammer can be, we look at it as it's made to destroy a wall. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't destroy that wall, you can never remodel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the tool that needs to be used. And the sledgehammer, my common sense is my sledgehammer to religion. And some will say that I'm flawed in that, because the Bible does speak of ye should not lean unto thy own understanding of things. Mm-hmm. So I try to do my best to look at different religions and their quote-unquote messiahs, Jesus, Moses, Krishna, Buddha, and I just try to embody their characteristics. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Like, you have them as idols.
Yeah, well, not even idols. Like, I do a lot of reading, and I one thing my mentor taught me about reading. He said that it's always a lot more fun if you can find yourself in the book, if you can relate to the character, if you can relate to the author, if you can relate to the subject matter. You know what I'm saying? It makes it a lot easier to read. So in order for me to get through a lot of those books, different religious passages and whatnot, I had to find myself in that. Yeah. So I'm always been a guy to identify with the champion or the president or the winners, you know what I'm saying, the main guy. So why wouldn't I look at like the Messiah of Jesus, the Prophet Muhammad? Why wouldn't I look at Krishna? Why wouldn't I look at Buddha, you know what I'm saying, for my own personal, you know what I'm saying, blueprint. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because each one of them, if you take the mindset of what they were thinking about how it was back then, if you really look at it, nobody believed who they said they were anyway. You know what I'm saying? So they look crazy. Yeah, it was after you know what I'm saying? Yeah, to after the fact. You know what I'm saying?
They become martyrs.
Yeah, so after the fact. So I tell Christians a lot of times, so I believe that I may be a little bit more Christian than you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm persecuted against daily. You know what I'm saying? For my belief that I'm doing what I believe that God's telling me to do. So, sorry, buddy. You know what I'm saying?
I think
we agree to just,
when the Jesus, I think the beginning branch for me was, it was obviously people being like, you're going to go to hell, you know, and I was like, it's ignorant. That's an ignorant thing to say, because you don't even know if you're going or not.
Yeah, that's true. It's really
not. But I can't dispute the fact that Jesus was here, right? But, and all these other would-be martyrs. But I grew up worshiping Michael Jordan, right? I love this motherfucker. His poster was on my wall.
Did Michael Jordan die on the cross for your sins?
He did it, but he went to the Wizards. He tried baseball. It's probably worse. You know what I'm saying? I saw this motherfucker play for the Barons, man.
Why are you doing this to us, Michael?
He was pretty. We could have got so many more championships,
man. I'm not a Michael Jordan fan, but I do remember that period.
Yeah, but
I do. I always say that to Bears, Bulls fans. Remember, Michael Jordan retired a Wizard.
Yeah, but he still put up great numbers. It's confusing part, man. He could have stayed for the Bulls. It was probably the hardest thing. You're still putting up 40, man. What the fuck? But
poor management.
I would never make a religion based off him. Even though he was such an important character to me, his image was an important character. Besides the fact he was in Vegas cheating on his wife and this, that, and the third.
From what we knew.
Yeah. Him and Charles Barkley doing stuff. You're like, hey, let's go to Vegas. Well, stories. But I wouldn't make a religion based off of it. I think belief comes in the highest part of it when it's true to you, right? So I know I'm expecting my fiance's family to ask me at some point.
Oh yeah, they gotta try to convert you, bro.
It's gonna happen, but
especially they're trying to get you before you cross that broom.
I'm not gonna be mad at them for doing it,
right?
Because at this point, I just know it's what they do, and I mean, I rant about a lot of things in my own way. I talk people's ears off about certain topics they might not care about and stuff. I could talk hip hop with you.
All right.
But if I try to talk hip hop with some other cat, it's gonna be like, the fuck are you talking about? Who's Eric B?
Who are you talking about?
Who's
that guy?
What do you mean he's scratching? Why do you mean, what is scratching?
What does he have?
Yeah. So it's like, I'm not gonna fault them, but I also know, what to expect. And it's unfortunate that, people can't just let things be.
Right, just let it be.
But it is what it is, man.
Well, man, Joe, I would say this has been a great conversation, bro.
It has.
I felt very comfortable with you. I found common ground very, very early in the conversation. If you have any, you're not really on social media or anything like that. If you want to drop any hashtags of what you're doing, whatnot. Yeah.
So right now, after music, I had my new addiction, because we flip addictions. If we can't rid it, we flip it. It's the healthiest way to do it. Is content. I'm always creating stories. A part of my music was figuring out a way for me to create a story in a way somebody can relate to it. Somebody has the pain I have, right? Just like people have pain that you have, right? It may be a little different, but the emotion is there. There's common ground everywhere. We just gotta look, gotta be woke. So I went from music to now I'm writing a book. I'm writing a novel, and then along with the novel, I'm creating an audio drama. I'm taking my music background, and I'm doing it like an old radio show.
Yeah.
So the episodes are gonna be put out like chapters. The story is about this man named Mark Maddock. He loses his wife due to an instance where a drug affected a kid. The kid lashed out and, in anger, killed his wife. He goes hard on the bottle. He's trying to figure out how to make things make sense again.
Yeah.
And he realized, and it's weird because the pharmacist came out after I watched Pharmacist, but the inspiration was heroin. I remember when Crocodile came out.
Crocodile Dundee?
No. There was a form of heroin called Crocodile.
Oh wow!
Where it was kind of spiked with gasoline.
What?
And you can, if you Google image it, it's some of the saddest thing you'll see. They would inject it, and their actual flesh would fall off.
What?
It would go through the bloodstream that extremely.
Wow.
That they would physically deteriorate. And then the fentanyl thing happened. And then I realized, it's too much. I want to be able to help people, but I don't know how to do it yet. So maybe writing a story is the place to start.
Yeah.
So it's centered around a new strain of heroin that's almost invoking mental illness in a whole other way. And Mark's not only trying to find peace with what had happened, he's trying to make sure it doesn't happen to anybody else. And through that process, he learns truths about himself, and he finds, hopefully, we'll see how much we'll see how much I like this character.
See how much you want to put him through.
I might Game of Thrones this motherfucker.
Oh man, as long as it's not like season 8. Season 8 was terrible.
You know, it was one of those things where, like, season 8, I knew they creatively were kind of trapped.
They could at least gave us Cersei have a real gruesome death. She deserved it. Yeah. And we got her to be in the arms of her lover/brother.
Yeah.
And have rocks fall on him. What?
It makes sense for Jaime's arc.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, every light cast a shadow, and we didn't get the ending of Cersei that we wanted. I wasn't mad about Bran.
I didn't really care.
Everybody saying he had no story I was like, did you guys pay attention at all? This motherfucker had one hell of a story.
Yeah, he did.
The first
he had
episode,
to have faith in a lot of people.
Yeah.
He couldn't walk.
Yeah.
He went everywhere.
Without Hodor, that story is done.
Dead.
Right?
Dead.
So yeah, and also with the podcast is gonna be called the Good, the Bad, and Kentucky.
In Kentucky.
The good will be the good is my brother-in-law Adam.
Okay.
I'm the bad is what I was voted, and Nolan that I call Canelo, he's Kentucky. he's from Kentucky. He doesn't know he has an accent, but he fucking does.
Yeah.
And those having a conversation with you was fun. These guys have a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Every time. Like there'd be times where I would just step back and
let them go.
Yeah, and just enjoy the show. So when I was previously on another podcast that broke, so I was like, well, I got to do something else. I knew that the episodes would take a little bit, and I would want more content in the meantime. So, and they're the perfect additional show for the channel. So the Good, the Bad, and Kentucky. I'm gonna get it on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, Apple. I'm gonna get it. The host is simplecast.com. And I'm actually, after this, I'm gonna make the Facebook page. So we'll be on social media. You just gotta Google it.
Awesome, man. Make sure you tag us in it.
Oh, absolutely.
And make sure you invite me on, bro. I'll come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna mention you guys.
Yeah.
I've had a really good experience here, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, I enjoyed you as well, Joe.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, sir. Go right for it.
Coming from addiction and the idea of painkillers and all this, anybody out there, if you're struggling, number one, if you're struggling, you need somebody. My number is 608-481-2834. Text me, call me. I have robots calling me all the time, so I'm not worried about that. If I get an actual human, that's cool. And I'm there for anybody who needs help. And if you're in pain, don't go to the doctors, or, to get this oxys and Vicodin and all that, Xanax, where you're just killing your body. Smoke weed. Okay, the CBD is fantastic for you. I chew up CBD gummies before I go to sleep. Number one, it's healthy. It helps me. It calms me, and I know it's not poisoning me. It's an actual good chemical. If you get piss tested, and you can't do, because I work in a factory, I can't smoke weed. Mm-hmm. Factory workers, we're not privileged.
Right.
I come home, I look like I work in a coal mine.
Oh,
I shower and I got black just draining off of me. But there are other options, and sometimes listening to the professionals isn't always the best, because there's a reason why they're professionals, and maybe sometimes you should question that. Yeah. The safer route is a good way to start.
Joe Nelson, guys. I am HyphenX, and always remember, you don't always have to agree to have a great conversation.
That's right.
Peace out.